to demonstrate how to create and edit a host profile using the Wavelink TELNETCE desktop application, and then ultimately pushing that configuration out to a device. So in this particular demonstration, we're going to show how to push that configuration down to an MC9000 series handheld computer from Zebra Technologies. And the first thing that we have to do, there's a couple of prerequisites that we need to make sure are completed. And the first of which is that we have a cradle, preferably a CRD 9000 single slot communications cradle connected to our PC via a USB cable interface, which I have in this particular instance. So I've got my CRD 9000 plugged in to power, as well as my USB connected to my PC. I've got the unit on, and once you've established a good connection, you can launch this Windows Mobile Device Center application, and it'll show you that you have a solid connection to your device. And then from there, you can do things. You can come in here to connect without setting up your device. You can then go into browse the contents, and then you can explore the different folders and environments on the device. And most of this functionality and capabilities we show in different videos. So once we have our confirmed connection over USB, the next thing we want to do is we want to go and download the Wavelink TELNETCE application or the installer, and you can use the provided URL on the accessids.net FTP site, which I have copied down here in Notepad. You can just simply copy this URL, dump it into a browser window, paste it, and then once you've pasted it, let's try that again. Once you paste that, it's a direct download, so it should ask you to save the file. I'm going to go ahead and save it out to my desktop, just for easy access. Now it already shows that I have it. I'm going to go ahead and override it for purposes of the demonstration. And then once you have that, you can simply just run the installer. So we're going to go ahead and run the installer. And this is going to install Wavelink TELNETCE on our PC locally. If it doesn't launch, you can simply just manually do it to your desktop. Now we're going to continue the installation process here. Just use the default directory. And we're going to add it to the desktop. And then we're going to go ahead and click on Run Wavelink, launch it on Finish here. So I'm going to go ahead and launch it. Now, the first thing it does is if you have any archived configurations like I do, it's going to ask you if you want to restore those. I'm going to hit No because for this demonstration, we're going to demonstrate how to create and edit that profile on the fly. So we're going to hit No here. So it's going to bring up our main product window. I'm going to minimize this background here. So here's our main Wavelink product configuration window, and we have some options on here. Really, the only one that we're concerned with now is how to create and edit a host profile. That's this icon, and then how to import and export those settings or parameters. If you have a warehouse with a lot of different satellite warehouses, or you may have an administrator at each location that wants to do this same process, we can export or import a host profile very quickly rather than having to build one for each location. But for now, we're just going to build one from scratch. So basically, we're going to come into this host profile, we're going to click on that, and it's going to bring up our host profile window. You notice that in the list on the left, I don't have any current or existing profiles. We're going to go ahead and create one by hitting New. Now, the host name is our alias. This is when we create the profile and it's on the device and we hit Enter to connect. This is the name that it's going to say that we're trying to connect to. So I'm going to go ahead and name this one AS400 _ Nancy. I'm going to confirm my emulation type. The default is IBM 5250 or IBM 5251, which is what we want, and that is the default, but it's always good just to confirm that that's the one you have. If it's not correct, you can simply click on the down arrow and then click on whichever emulation type you want. So we'll go back to IBM 5251. We're going to put in our host IP address, and then we want to confirm our telnet port. The default is port 23, which is 95% of the time. Now the correct one, if you use a different telnet port, you simply just type that in. We'll leave ours as the default. Now once I've got this basic information set up on the host, I'm going to come into this configuration tab, click on that, and now I can modify the emulation parameters for the AS400 DANSIC profile that I've created here. So I'm going to hit modify. And then over here I'm presented with this topology of all these different parameter or emulation parameters that I want to change. So we're going to go ahead and expand some of these. The ones that we're concerned with for DANSIC, we're going to go ahead and open those up. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to make sure that I've got the right type of keypad. If you are not using a 5250 keypad, we need to adjust for that. You can tell if you have a 5250 keypad by looking at your keypad on your device, and if the bottom right-hand key, the large key, says Enter, that means you're using a standard ANSI keyboard. If it says Field Exit, that means you have a 5250 keypad. If you're using the keypad with the Enter key, then you're going to want to change this Enter key swap, right? So you're going to expand it by hitting the plus button here, and then double tapping on the default value, and then changing that to yes. And again, you only need to do this if your handheld keypad says Enter and not Field Exit. The next thing you want to do is you want to come down here to this oversized scanning. What this is if you have a barcode that you're scanning that has more characters than the input field allows for, then you have to decide on how you want to handle that. In DANSIC, what we do is we scan the barcode, we strip out the first maximum number of characters, and then we split the barcode and dump the remaining characters into the following or next field. So to change that, you want to open this up or expand it, click on the Do Not Allow default, select Split, and then hit OK. Also, down here in the Common section, we have this Use Enter as Reset. We'd like to turn this on. This allows the user to use the Enter key as a reset button. If there's a lockup, if there's a X-wait message on the screen, they can come in here and hit Enter, and that will reset that emulation. So set that to yes. Then you come down here into this Common field here, and there are some values in here that are used to set how the device behaves on timeout. One of the things we want to do is we want to adjust this host connection timeout. We open this up. This is set for seconds. Zero being the default, or 0 being the minimum, 65,000 being the maximum. If you put in the value of 0, that just means that no timeout will occur. For a host emulation session, especially in 5250, we don't recommend doing that. We recommend just putting in a period of time that works best for you. So we like to change this value to about 3,600 seconds, and then just hit OK. And then the other one we want to pay attention to is the sleep timeout on battery power. Battery power meaning that it's not sitting in a cradle with external power supply. So right now, if we open that up, you see that we have up to 30 minutes. I recommend doing 30 minutes. That seems to be a good value for most of our customers, so we'll hit 30 minutes. Hit OK. And then the only other thing that we need to concern ourselves with is on your scanner here, this lists out all the barcode symbologies for a one-dimensional barcode reader. And by default, the manufacturer, Zebra Technologies, the I205 symbology is not enabled. And the DANSIC profile does require that. There are some I205 barcode symbologies that they use. So we're going to go ahead and expand it. We're going to come down to the bottom, symbology I205, double click on the default, which is disabled, and we're going to enable that. Hit OK. Once we've completed that, we can come up here and save that profile, and then simply close that window, and it returns us back to the host profile setup. And that's really all we need to do to set up our host config. So now what we need to do is we want to go ahead and export that profile out. And the reason that we want to export that profile out is, like I discussed earlier, if you have a satellite office or offices and they're going to, or expected to have the same capability to keep them from having a requirement of creating this host profile and making sure that all of your satellite offices are using the same profile. You can come in here to this import export, and we're going to choose export. We're going to hit OK. It's going to allow us to choose our destination folder, which in my case on my desktop I have a folder called customer configurations. We're going to go ahead and name this one. And there is no requirement on this. You can name it whatever you want. I'm going to call it AS400 Danzig underscore rev 3, just so it's a new one. Then I'm going to hit save. Now once I've done that, in my desktop I have that host profile file. If I want to retrieve that, I would simply come in here to import, hit OK, pull the one that I want, hit open, and now here's the profile that I just imported. So now all we really need to do is push this profile down to our handhelds. And this could be one, this could be several. In order to do that, again, we want to come back here to our mobile device center and confirm that we do have a good connection between our device and our PC. Once that's done, all we have to do is come over here to this config only, click on the button. It gives us the successfully installed, and we know that it was pushed down. I like to do it twice, just to make sure. You can do it as many times as you want. And then for any subsequent devices, you would simply pull the unit out of the cradle, put the new device back in the cradle, make sure you have this connection confirmed, and then hit config only, and that's it. And that's the basics of setting up a new profile or editing a profile and then setting it down to the